It says Supreme Court at the top. You'll see on the bottom left-hand side, there's a slash across the box. So when we're calling names, and that's when I'm going to be telling you, according to these ballots, you will mark a slash in the box. So the first one would be, say it's Janet, it would be slashed in the number 1 box. Very good. Okay, so we're ready to get started. What I'd like you to do is when we set you up, I set you up with 3 pieces of paper. You see the first one, I want you to go to Supreme Court, and you can put your green and yellow sheets to the side, and just put that one sheet in front of you. Four at every table. There should be 4 at every table. If we have a couple, well, for right now, we're okay. We'll have to move here in a little bit, but we'll be okay for right now. Okay, and then the other thing that we do is you'll see pens and pencils. Pens and pencils on your table. There's your red pen, blue pen, and a pencil. Does everybody have at least one of those at the table? Yes, here.
I like that addition.
Okay, very good. So what we normally do is just to do habits is we start with the blue pen. Okay, and what we're going to do is I want you to all follow with me at the bottom of your page. And it says Supreme Court at the top. You'll see on the bottom left-hand side, there's a slash across the box. So when we're calling names, and that's when I'm going to be telling you, according to these ballots, you will mark a slash in the box. So the first one would be, say it's Janet, it would be slashed in the number 1 box in the column. Now if I said David, you would do, or excuse me, Daniel, then you would slash the number 1 across in Daniel's column, okay? And then this is progressive, so then if we go to Janet again, then you would do a slash in number 2. So that's how it goes, it just continues on like that. Now, if we get to a spot where somebody doesn't know what they did, say, stop immediately. Do not be shy, because we want to stop before we have more complications. So say stop. And then what the table does is help them work through that challenge. Maybe it was they didn't quite hear it well enough, or they were, had a sneeze and didn't hear the words, and the table can help them out. And then we work adjust accordingly. Now, if there are challenges, and we'll have challenges as we go along, we'll address those as we go. So, okay. But if we happen to have a challenge, then what we do, if it gets to the point where we have to recount, we start doing it and we put the slash the opposite direction, right on top of the same ones that you had just done. Okay? And then if we have a third time that we need to do it, which once in a great while we have, then you actually fill out the oval box. So we have 3 ways to adjudicate this. So before moving on to if we have to do it again, I've never done that. I've never had to go to another sheet. So we've been able to overcome everything within the 1 or 2. Once in a while it's only been that. So that's a great way to do that. The other thing that you'll notice is you have 2 talliers at a table, and you'll have 2 callers at a table. Okay? One tallier is A, B, whatever, it doesn't matter. They do that, and they can communicate the whole time. Say, hey, did you do this? Yeah. You just communicate. It's called transparency. Now the callers, one calls, the other one makes sure, points, or however the 2 of you work it out, points at where you're calling and says the name. And the other person that's not calling out makes sure they said the right name. So it's a way to verify. Because a lot of times I've seen, like on bond elections, we have one person up there looking at all the bonds, the bond elections, and it's just they're calling it off and there's nobody to double check. Maybe they're not calling it correctly. And I'm not saying any nefarious things. I'm just saying maybe they got a line mixed up or something. But if you have 2 or 4 eyes, literally, that's 2 eyes, 4 eyes looking, then you have less chance of errors. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. So now what we're going to do, take the blue pen, we're on it. The tough part's here. Oh, yes, Susan?
At some point here, can we kind of switch around so we have at least one person who's done it before at each table?
Yes, we will do that.
Okay,
Just
that's
after
coming.
this
Okay.
is just a sample.
Okay,
Yeah, we're just getting people learning.
got it.
Okay, very good. So what we're going to do, take your blue pen, and I'm going to call out, and I'm going to need one volunteer from the thing. Would you be a volunteer with me? Mark? Or, there you go. No, come on, Pastor. Grab a chair. Look at that, I already have a chair for you. And no, he's a Democrat. I'm not a Democrat. We ran a church.
Don't label me.
Anyway, just fun. It was just constitutional. Very good. Ah, got it. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to call a number or a name out to you, but don't write anything else. I'm just going to give you the audio of what you're going to hear. I'm going to say Janet, Daniel, write in, and that's what this is going to be. And that's usually what I try to stay at. Okay, now everybody get ready on your piece of paper. And see, I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to point at that. Okay, and then we're going to start. Everybody ready? Janet, make your slash. And what you and I do, okay, like your partners. Make sure they're all okay.
Make sure your pen works.
Is your pen working?
No, not yet.
It just needed a little coaxing.
They're just new pens.
Okay, the next one, Daniel. Janet. 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 Janet.
Five.
Very good. And that is a great catch. What we're teaching people all over this state is when you hit the 5, the 10, the 15, you just call it out. And what that does is that also helps you adjudicate at your table quickly, in shorter intervals. So then if you do have a problem, then you only have to go back a few instead of a lot. Okay? Very good. Thank you for doing that. Daniel. Janet. 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 Very good. How did you do? How many do you have in the first column?
8.
And how many do you have in the second column?
2.
How does that add up to? 10. Very good. You guys just did the hardest part of the assessment. That's all that it is. Now, I guess another top part is take a line on the box of, I think it's 8 and of 2, a vertical line up and down. That just to know that we stopped counting for just a brief second. So go ahead and put of your blue pen just up and down inside the box of like the 8 and that's just to show the distinction there. That's all that it is. Okay. Any questions before we go on? I knew you'd have an Okay.
Does that make sense?
I would start with red.
Okay.
This is just a. Nope, blue. We're not changing it, we only do 10. What we do is count ballots at 25 apiece, so that everything is standard in 25. And the reason for that is if you have a challenge, you only have to go back 25 instead of 50 or 100 or whatever. But I only did the first 10 just so that you'd get a feel of what's going on. Okay, now we're going to finish the rest up to 25. Yes, ma'am?
So does it matter where you put your vertical line?
No, just somewhere in that box.
Okay.
It's all good, just so that it's on the out, well, actually it does, it's so that that's the last box on the first session, so, anyway. Okay, and he's going to give you a verbal of what he's going to say, so hold on, don't put anything down yet. He's gonna say,
I'm gonna say Janet, Daniel, write in.
okay? So now, get ready with your pens. Here we go.
Janet. Daniel. Janet,
10.
Janet. Daniel. Janet. Daniel.
5.
Janet. Janet. Janet.
15.
Janet. 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 Daniel.
Is that 25 now?
That's 25. Woohoo, guys! Now, everybody get 25? Look at that. We did perfect. So proud of you. Okay, we are going to do, you've got the hang of it, yeah? We're gonna do a real tough one now. We're going to go back to the beginning, and you're going to take the other two pieces of paper and set the Supreme Court aside. And you're gonna see Cambridge School, page 1, pick 3, and Cambridge School, page 2, pick 3. Now, my suggestion to you, which will make it easier for you, is you put page 2 behind page 1, so it's like this. This is page 2, behind page 1, and then when we go through and we holler at you, you're gonna holler all these names, and then up here is an undervote. Okay? And this column, you use the first column because usually there's a lot of undervotes or so on and so forth. That's why we have two columns. It's just of the same. You just use the first column. When it's full, then you would go to the second column. Does that make sense?
What does undervote actually mean?
When someone doesn't fill out an oval, if there's a race that says, we'll say there's a race for 3 and they only pick 2, one of those is considered an undervote.
Okay.
So when we get to the end, we have to tally everything, so all our numbers have to be correct. So we have to count them as an over, or an undervote, okay? So that our number's correct. Yes, sir.
And so in conjunction also with the overvote, it doesn't matter how many times they voted, like if they filled in 5 different names, you would put in 3 for the overvote.
That one is a challenge. I'm still getting out on that. I haven't seen a situation where that has happened yet, to be honest with you, but someone has asked me that question, and I haven't talked to Rick on that, how he handles that. And he would be the professional to handle that. So, that's a great question, though. And I will get an answer for you. So, okay, here we go. So you put your sheets like they are, and we're gonna go through the beginning again. You get too many pieces of paper here. Okay, we'll continue. Okay, we're gonna do 10 again, and we're gonna go a little bit slower just so you get the use of it, okay? Now we're gonna go, and we're gonna go to the Cambridge School District, and it says vote for no less than 3, okay? And you're gonna do this, this, and this.
You want me to read all these names?
Yes, he's gonna read the names first, just so you hear, so don't mark anything, and he's going now, just reading.
Grace, Tracy, Jesus, Scott, Ann, Jennifer, Ryden.
Okay, now we'll take your pen. You're still on the blue pen, because we're on the different race. Okay, you always start your races with the blue pen. That's just
In addition to the weekly printed version of the newsletter journal, we also promote our community and share important information on our award-winning website, newslj.com, and in our weekly email newsletter, Nuke Now. We also connect with readers through various social media platforms and invite you to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can even take a look at a recent meeting of the City Council, School Board, or County Commission on our YouTube channel. We do hope that you will go to newslj.com and subscribe today, and we look forward to making all of our great content available to you. But regardless of your level of support, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for doing your part to preserve a free and independent local press.
so that you're not confused. Or I'm not, anyway. Whatever, so he's gonna start. Yes, sir. Oh, yes, ma'am.
Okay, they got 2 write-ins here on the second sheet.
You have a sheet that's not clean?
No, I know. I mean,
2 columns
Oh,
for write-in.
2 columns for write-in, yeah. You use the first one
Okay.
and then the second one. So always fill the first column up. Same way on the second sheet, you'll see that there's,
So
the title of the second sheet has blank, no selection, undervote, and mark 3. You see that on that second sheet?
3, and then go for 1.
And then we'll be calling an undervote for that one, okay? So here we go, we're gonna start.
What are you doing?
Uh-oh, something went on the floor.
What's she doing there?
Watch, oh Lord, it's this good.
No worries, they're just the fake ballots.
That's a big job.
Just an over.
I love it. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm having.
Mark and slash. Nope, just the same thing you did. If you have one undervote, you mark it in number 1. And if they say another undervote, then you mark that in the line 2.
So it's per ballot, not per name. So if the person voted for one person when there should have been 3, it's still only 1 mark.
So I'll walk you through this,
We'll
that's
do
incorrect.
undervotes as
Yeah,
well.
if there's 3 undervotes, it would be undervote, 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 is how we would call it. So you would mark every time. You would mark every time we keep it. We will keep doing it. Pardon me? Yeah, we have to go for ballot.
Okay, so it's the number of undervotes per ballot.
Yeah,
Okay, per race.
it's per race.
Per race.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You bet. You have a question, sir?
Yeah, point of clarification on the write-ins. Let's say somebody votes for one person and does 2 write-ins. Do you mark those in the separate columns, or you just 1 and 2 in the first column of write-in?
Yeah, 1 and 2 in the first column of writing. And then the whoever the powers that be, usually the clerks or the deputy clerk, they come back and they adjudicate the write-in.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay, here we go, blue pen.
Jesus. Ann. Jennifer. Tracy. Scott. Ann. Jesus. Scott. Ann.
Please slow down.
Undervote.
Second sheet.
Undervote.
Hang on.
Hold on.
We call
Oh,
it
it's over here.
Oh, and then box, gotcha.
Is everybody with us?
Yes.
Everybody got 2 undervotes
In the same column.
in the same column? Yes, ma'am.
votes.
Okay, here, we're continuing on.
Undervote. That was fun.
It was fun.
Tracy. Scott. Ann. Jesus. Undervote. Undervote.
5.
Tracy. Scott. Ann.
5.
Come on, get
Grace.
involved here. Elizabeth.
Grace.
Grace got one. I can relate. to
Jesus. Ann. Grace. Tracy. Jesus.
5. That way, Dave, that way.
And undervote. Undervote.
Okay, 10.
And
Do you all have 10 in your 2 columns or multiple columns there? Add up their little slashes. Pardon me? Or, yeah, sorry. 35, I apologize.
25,
30,
25,
or whatever.
30.
You should have,
It's 3.
if you had 10 ballots, it
It's
should
10 ballots, so you
Yeah.
should have 30.
and that's what I counted.
Because it's
30?
3 on each ballot.
yeah. We all good?
Yep.
Are we doing the vertical line now then?
No, I'm just doing 10 to get everybody started. We're just trying to. This is just 10 ballots we need here. Yeah, there you go. It's numbers. Numbers, yeah. The numbers have to be there. Anybody else have a question?
Yeah, I have 30.
Okay, keep the blue pen because we're gonna finish those 25 ballots.
I just wonder why we counted their names. We just did 25 ballots, except for I understand 3 names. Yeah, yeah.
We're good over there? Okay. Okay, now we're gonna continue on, keep the blue pen. Here we go.
Grace. Tracy.
5.
Undervote. Undervote. Undervote.
10.
Undervote. Grace. Tracy. Jesus. Scott.
5.
Ann. Undervote. Scott. Ann. Jennifer.
Slow down.
Jesus. Ann.
10.
Jennifer. Grace.
5.
Scott. Jennifer. Undervote. Undervote. Undervote.
15.
Tracy. Undervote. Undervote. Grace. Tracy. Jennifer.
5.
Grace. Tracy. Ann. Grace. Jesus. Jennifer. Grace. Tracy.
10.
Ann. Jesus. Scott. Jennifer. Jesus.
10.
Scott. Jennifer.
25.
Anybody not end up with that? What do you have in the first column? Who wants to be bold and tell us what we read across their whole list?
9.
Next one?
10.
30.
Next one?
10.
Next one?
9.
Next one?
12.
Next one?
8.
Next one?
17.
Aha!
Then do we put the vertical?
You ready for the real thing now?
Yes.
Yeah. We're gonna dive right in. Oh, question?
So when I was marking for Jennifer, and I went down, I didn't see that I had marked 5, or that I marked 5, I went down and did 6 and realized I hadn't marked 5.
Okay, did your table aware of that?
Yes.
Okay, and you guys adjudicated it, so when you came to the end, you all.
What I did was I just left it, and then when they called her name, I just didn't mark it.
You did mark it up.
Yeah.
Well, that's another reason why you have a pencil on your page, on your table. Because
Okay.
if you have something that the nose, excuse me, if, this is the reason why we have a pencil on your table. For the instance, you said that she had one you did mark.
Well, I hadn't marked 5, but I went down and marked 6.
Okay,
I missed,
you missed one?
I just missed one, yeah.
Okay. Well, in that situation, you did exactly right, how you handled it, and then went back up to the 5, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Now, if you run into an error, which you guys haven't had it, it's like, give yourself a hand on that one. But it's okay to have errors, because then we can correct them and teach you how to correct them. So, but if you have an error, you say stop, and then like if you accidentally put it in the wrong column, you circle that.
Put the lead back.
So then, and then we'll all go on again, and then we get to that, and you come to that one where it's already been marked, but you have it circled, then you say stop, you'll take your pencil, you'll erase that, and then that one will be marked for you. So does that understand, and hopefully we'll have somebody make a mistake.
So I should have circled.
Don't do it again.
So I should have circled that 6 then?
Pardon me?
So I should have circled the 6.
I'm sorry, I still can't hear you.
I should have circled the 6.
Yes, yes, to know that it was something out of order.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then when you get to that, you would circle it back.
I want to add on here, the reason there's 4 people at,
Hey, guys.
the reason there's 4 people at your table is it's okay to make a mistake. The other 3 are there to help you. So if you screw up, stop. Hey, I got a 6 instead of a 5, and then you figure out where you're at. And then you all agree and move forward. That's transparency right there. That's why there's 4 there.
We encourage talking in certain times. I love it. Okay,
Can I make an observation?
yes, sir.
Your cadence with the words was good. When we were in Sundance,
Rick,
Rick, the lawyer, was reading them, and I was having a hard time keeping up.
Yeah.
It's much easier if you have a solid cadence for slow-witted people like myself.
well, and see, that's normal, it's because everybody has a different speed, but you want to try to, and at a table, you won't have quite the variety of speeds, you just have the 4 in this here, so it'll go out there. When you do a bigger room, it tends to be crazy. So if you want to take a quick potty break, then we'll start the next section. We're good. Attention here. You, on your table, you will see 2 notebooks and a ballot envelope. Now, I've asked that there's 2 people at each table, excuse me, 4 people at each table. Do we have any odd numbers?
We're on.
And you admit it?
Every day.
Okay, you're on. Is there anybody else that's in an odd situation? Okay, there's 3 here, maybe you come over there.
Okay, and then do we have odd number back there?
No, there are 4 here.
There are 4 there?
Okay.
Yeah, one of them's coming.
Trader.
County
Code
Hospital.
wise. Yes, we passed that.
Wants to be a caller. Wants to be a market. Two of each.
It's gonna be the rest
Everybody has a
I'll be a caller.
I need a beer, so anyway. Anyway, you're going to have, your ballots and your notebooks. You each get to decide who is who. Guess which color goes to whom. Okay, on one side, someone takes one, the other takes one. So you gotta get pick them out. You decide whose side, and you all have to be on the same side.
So when you get these back, look at them. This is the actual ballot, and this is the cast vote record. So this is what the machine read off of this ballot. So when you're looking at it back at the ranch, and so you can see things like
Hold on.
So
You're
here's,
deciding.
what do you want to do? Democrat or Republican?
Guys! These first people are gonna tally on one side, and then when you stop, get through the race, then we're gonna switch so that you get to try both. So you're gonna get a chance to try both, okay? Thank you. Appreciate that. So, now, on the tally sheets, you may take out whatever one that you're gonna be assigned. We're gonna go through here and we're gonna assign the sheets to come out. And you can take it out of the notebook or you can hold the notebook over. That's totally up to you. Nothing else is on your table, even as we speak now. And do we know why? What if we took you on these ballots? That would not be a good thing. Or on the tally sheets. These are kept forever because these are tally sheets for records, okay? So nothing on your table except your ballots and your tally sheets. You can put them on the floor.
Can't put them on.
Put them on the floor. Correct. And your collars are on the other side. Pay attention. Your collars are on the other side and they have no pens. No pens whatsoever. Okay? The two tallies have a red and a blue pen and a pencil in between them. Okay? You guys are awesome. That's what this is. Oh, the reason why is
yeah, but
you gotta fill it in.
okay, good, you know, you see where's the collar? Perfect, and where's the pencil? Should be a pencil in between you. Oh, there it is, okay, very good.
This is the best table.
How you guys doing?
Oh, we're the best.
You are the best, love it.
we have a real blue pen.
Somebody stole it.
We got a real
They do run off, don't they?
We did check everybody's pockets and purses.
Okay, so, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tell this table to do the first race, which is, so you'll take your tally book in. Some of you may have other tally sheets, but there's your Supreme Court. That's the first race. This table will do the first race. Okay? This table will do the second race. Can someone tell me at this table what the second race is? Court of Appeals. That's what you do and that's what you call. So then when you're on your ballots, you call the Court of Appeals.
Okay.
Okay?
So we have to dig through when we pull them out?
Yep. But we're not ready for them yet. Not quite yet.
But
The next one, you guys do the third race. Okay? And you guys do the fourth race.
Which is? Yours is on your treasure.
There you go. Okay, you guys do the first race.
So everything is doubled up.
Yes, but they're doubled up at the table. And just today is a testing. I want them to go through all the types of things that we have, so that's what's going on. Okay. You guys will do the second race. Yep. You guys will do the school board, yes.
And so a quick question for this, at least here in, actually, Weston County, I think the school district is not party affiliated.
Correct.
So which one would we use for that?
The same people, just the same people, just so that they're different.
Well, I see we're making the same counts, but it's, she's, okay.
It's just verification.
My apologies.
Oh, don't worry about
I got it.
No,
It's a good
no.
question. And so the other thing you can do is you can also get your pages by reminder.
Yes, you can.
It makes it easier for you to count. You're in charge of your own binder.
And you'll need a pin, 2 pins, a blue and a red for you, and a pencil, and the rest get away so that you're not fumbling. There you go. And I can take the other ones. Yeah, just so that you know. You guys are on. Okay. Here we go, everybody. Now what we're gonna do is on the ballot side, as a group, we're going to go through, and you'll see at the very beginning, they'll have multiple pages. 25, 25, 25. As a group, you're going to count out batches of 25 in your ballots and put a page on top of it. And then you're going to put it down, and then you're going to count 25 out, put another page, so that we're separating 25. Does that make sense? So let's do that right now. Everybody can count. So you can take like half of it, you can pass it the other side.
Obviously, it doesn't really matter what order it's read in, as long as you
These are
just
just
batch
like-
it together.
Correct, right, but they can't go on the ground, they have to stay on the table. We gotta keep all the election up on top. Okay, I need to switch over here if I could. And you can do that. You can count here. 3. Okay, very good. Now, someone else double checks them. When you get 25 in the pile, then someone else counts the 25 again so that we're double checking. Everyone gets that? When you get 25 in the pile, someone else counts the 25 and double checking.
And if you want, you can split those up and count many people, count 25, but each one kept separately. Because it doesn't matter what order they're in.
Oh, this is, okay, so we're gonna go through that first.
Yes. Count those and see if those are 25. Can you count to see if those are 25? I'll take this one. I have it.
Wouldn't that suck if I just started yelling out random numbers for him to kind of figure out?
What is your count?
12, 9, 5.
Okay, when you get done with your 25, 25, 25,
I might be out, so I have to skip one.
Thank you so much.
Does anybody need a little rubber pump?
Oh, that would be handy.
Because we don't want you licking your
These things
fingers.
are hard to sort, to separate out. What is this? So it's 75. You have an extra.
You just know that there's a separate. So there's a green sheet underneath that?
Yeah.
Perfect.
There was one that was off like this, so it may have
Anybody need a
fallen.
little on your finger?
And then you would just make a note somewhere, so in a normal situation, there's actually a check-in sheet, so you would, so when the clerk would bring over the ballots to you, and they would say, here's 100, and you verify, you're like, wait, no, there's 75 plus 9, you would actually note that, and there would actually be a pause to make sure that they understand how many you're counting. It's the chain of custody of how many ballots you all counted, and match every number.
Anybody need a rubber pump?
So we can start with you.
That's what I did. There's one tally or thing.
See, we did it.
You did this tally.
Sure, there's 9 here. So we got 84 total.
We're looking for spoiled ballots. They have like 2
This one will have one. This one will have two. This one will have one. You don't get 2 6 This one will have.
Okay.
Missing signatures.
No, they go right behind you.
Town supervisor.
Hopefully don't end up in. I had 24.
And you look at how many of them
We all, 3 of us counted
but on the back, there's regular ballots.
Don't put more dollars.
It will say absentee right
Keep the
there.
miles separate.
What you got is further
Now, if there's no signatures,
So what you're looking at that too.
that's what you're looking for, make sure that there's two of them, regular ones, and one absentee. So you go through and you look for that. And if there is, there will be, because that's your extra.
Are they gonna start counting this day?
Did they do the spoil? That could just spoil. Okay, spoil. Bring it here. You're doing the spoil now? Okay.
This table over here had 9 extra ballots.
Okay, that's fine. Put them at the end. This is fine. Spoil ballots. So you take the first 25, you go through here, you kind of visually look at them. If they all look normal, that's fine. But your main thing to check is on the back, you have signature from the collection agent. If there's not two for a normal one, then it's a spoiled ballot. Then there's such thing as an absentee. It's an absentee.
Some of these are some.
There's an absentee, it'll say absentee, and it'll have one signature. Now, if it has no signatures, it's a spoiled ballot. And if it has a regular one right here, and only one signature, it's a spoiled ballot. Okay, very good, so you go do that, and you have a spoiled ballot. Okay. Jill? Yes?
You can double check.
Could you teach us more?
You guys want to do?
Okay, good.
Should we do 26 and 25?
Yes, you can, because you got sort of.
I think we should put 25. So we gotta go through the whole thing.
Yes, absolutely.
We did.
Yeah, that's why. We get 9 left over, that's pretty much it. Besides, so there's nothing, just make a note of that, so unless there's like, so just approve it. So the next step is to outline your spoiled ballots. Yep. You didn't have any?
You cannot touch our ballot. This is our ballot.
Oh, there's no size. And then once they've done that, these are all good. So now we gotta check these. So you count back to 25.
Got 2, it's ours.
Well, I know. We approved. I didn't think. But now.
I was verifying you.
No, they just. Are we checking them all? The 9. Yeah, they are.
Spoiled ballot.
So now we have to go back and I think that's where we're at.
These are good. They got one more file.
Well, they've never, Wyoming, that I.
So the fines for the longest tree. The next time they do that, man, if you don't use that. You can tell the
I don't know, it was a long time, so I'm remembering, but I don't remember. Yeah.
You get all the spoils done, well, you already got them spoiled, then you can go ahead and.
So now we what is the spoiled ballot?
If you look at that front, does it look like the rest of it? When it's kind of visual. On the back, you look for if there's signed by the election judges, and there's gonna be an absentee, which will have one signature.
So what would be the spoiled ballot on the side?
If it's not quite right, it could be somebody printed from a different ballot.
Like if it was like, looked like somebody said on one end, or if we were spoiled, I've got 3 and 8.
And when you go through your files of 45 and you have to get spoiled enough, you can use it on your extra.
What do we do with those?
These are your extra ones.
So now we
Yes,
get
you're gonna count them. Fill them in where your spoil is and then you'll have the bottom of the sheet. Very good.
Are doing what's right now, we can see the name.
So you check her and make sure she's got correct.
Are we good?
We started out with there's no vote, so what do we do? No selection.
So these are,
Yeah, we need to see.
Can you check this? So we do this no blank, no selection.
We were after.
5.
Let me get that.
80.
Check you.
Correct. Use mine.
Yeah, Jolene says you can't use
Nobody
your
says no on phone. So we would put that somewhere in there.
Can I have 7?
Should we start counting?
You can count once you're ready, yep. I would say we start with these 8. That's actually exactly what I would suggest, is start small, make sure you're rhythm. At any point in time, if you guys feel like you're messed up, stop, work time it out, work it out.
We're doing.
And then what's the next one? Right now, mine is right. We can do all 3, then we're gonna have to.
Okay,
Well, here's what we're
that must be the mayor.
You want to call them on? Okay. You want to call them?
All right, I'll start.
So why don't you say the names each first, so they hear your guy.
Daniel and Katie. All right, let's see. You already? Okay. Vote for Daniel.
For the fire department?
Katie. We have it. Two undervotes. Or one.
15.
Two undervotes.
That's good. I'm sorry.
Katie.
Yeah. So
One undervote.
I must have.
So you all counting your ballots? Okay, you're ready to go. So we're gonna recommend to start with that group of 9 or 8 that you have. So that is somebody else kind of give them rhythm, make sure you're good there. And so as a caller, there's one caller. So what do you recommend you do when you're opening?
Yes, we did do that.
Okay, so
You should be up to.
that way.
We're counting the ballots. We have.
Daniel, Katie.
And we thought this was supposed to be. So I'm pointing to say.
Now, when you say, it's just very clear. And then what you're doing is after you call,
So that's 20, you should have 25.
So then you flip that.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yes, there should be 16 total. So, we'll do the next 25 and then do that.
Good.
And as a tally, when you're doing this, there's going to be a spectator on the
Katie.
I only got 3, I got 5.
One undervote.
Okay, to verify all that. So don't just
Two undervotes. Katie. One undervote. Daniel. Katie.
No, that was counting ballots being 11.
Daniel. Katie.
Janet. Oh, no.
Yeah, so we don't know what the mistake is.
Okay, so we tallied 26. Okay. We matched and let's count the ballots one
Two
more time.
undervotes. Katie. One undervote.
Good.
I just have to wait for the next one. Okay,
You want to serve?
Katie. Katie. One undervote.
So we screwed up somewhere. We got
Daniel. Katie.
so what we're going to do.
Daniel. Katie.
that was never part of it.
You have 7 in the first column, I have 8. I will give you another.
So like when they're those,
And then 12.
and I do the nuns, I call. You need to get with Daniel. That's why we should have started.
The new store. This is the one-stop shop. We have a pharmacy. We have a bootlegger's liquor. The deli, the food that you can get at a lunchtime is so amazing. The coffee shop. Certain Friday mornings, there's 30 people sitting here in all these chairs. This is the hub for people to come and visit, have their coffee, have their donuts. It's amazing what this area has done. Totally amazing.
Yeah, correct. So we have done this. Katie. Daniel. Katie. Daniel. Katie. Katie.
If you're talking about a
Under
name, it's the
Is this our new active? Yes. So we're gonna switch one.
So, you probably just do this, we will switch out.
Looks good. Looks good. 3 under votes, looks good. Looks good. Looks good. 2 under votes, looks good. 3 under votes, looks
Well, I was hoping they would go, I'm gonna say Chris and Mike. Go
So then you're gonna do 25. You're gonna verify 25. Then after that 25, you're gonna run back to
So one of the things here is calling it, you're validating. So they should be pointing it, you should be validating that they're calling it right.
Janet.
Don't trust me, there'll be cheat on you, you know?
I know, he's my husband.
Janet.
Not really.
Janet.
No, I'm gonna do that.
Janet.
So I can't,
Janet. Daniel.
I get the handle of those. You don't get cut.
Janet.
The switch from blue to red is what caused that.
Janet.
You can do a couple of different ways. Okay, we're doing it because it's stacked at 25.
Daniel.
We've adjudicated the 25. Now we want to verify those 25 and keep them separate, so then we'll switch pins. There's the next step. Because a different color. So if there's ever a problem,
Oh, is that how we're doing it?
then you go back on the color as far as the side, as far as black. Then it's simpler to go back and find out what the six was.
The 25 instead of the whole line.
No, we were doing
But it just separates them into smaller
in
groups.
red.
Well, sometimes the races are so up that it's not advantageous to move the pin. Like if there's only 16 or 45 in the race, well, just stick with 25. You can handle it.
Okay.
But if there's 250 or 1,000 or 200, then every 25 we'll just switch.
I'm Walter Sprague with Newsletter Journal. You are
Mark Hoffman.
Mark Hoffman.
I am Ray Hoffman's husband.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Janet. 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 Janet.
This one,
Janet.
15.
Daniel. Janet.
So if I just want that.
It was meant to be 14, but I heard
So just circle it and then hold
No,
it.
we're down to many races.
fill the sheet out with those ballots.
Two under the- Two under the-
All right, we're ready to
So all 4 of us will say, okay, we got this done, now we'll present it to the guy who carried over the box there.
No, I didn't hear it. I hope I hear it. But every time it comes to 5, you say 5.
Now, see, one of the problems we have. A lot of so we gotta go back.
We were already up to this.
How we're gonna do the double X. Gonna do the
Well, do
double.
these two, do these
So I would pay.
All right.
You got it. Finish that. Yes, would that make sense?
Daniel,
Look at you guys.
Katie,
I know it's been a while.
Daniel.
We should go on.
You guys ready?
So exciting. Hello, winners, how are you doing?
We screwed up.
Never use the red pen.
We use the red one. Nope. Nope, you use your blue one and then you do the
Cross the
X.
other way.
You do this, if you do it another time, it's that one. Don't change it until you change your race.
So when do you use your anti-dance?
On the second 25.
Oh, that's really screwed up.
So you do 25, and then 25, and then 25.
Yeah. So if we blue, red, blue, or red, blue, red.
So all 25 on blue pens, the second 25. I see, so then we, and I think we'll explain that, so that's okay.
No.
Now we'll do.
Now, can we get them the money on the table, because now they just want.
I think that should be.
Might be able to draw over for.
I think we have a free lunch though.
That's what we'll do, we'll draw it over this.
So we're starting at 7. But see, this is an agreement between all of you. Yeah, you can do the red, let's make a raise. You can do that. It's a correcting of a mistake. This is fabulous. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any more of those?
I do.
I'm Katie. At the end, at the 24.
Yeah, but are you doing it before the 17 or after?
I did it before, just like you did.
Okay, perfect. And then what? And then
And then between 28 and 27.
Probably your error.
They just look like they go back across.
We're good. We're good, okay, so let's start it again.
We're gonna go over this stuff.
Yeah, so we're
It's Daniel, one undervote. Katie, one undervote. Daniel, Katie. Daniel, Katie. 30, one undervote.
20.
Daniel, Katie.
Correct, me too.
Yes,
I had 20 last.
25.
she said.
Because you said Daniel, so.
17 and 34.
Spell here.
Yeah, just go back over that.
This file here.
Alright, you're out of order.
Go like this.
Ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Daniel, one undervote. Katie, one undervote.
Yeah, and it also has
No, she said. Starting point is 25. She's
and just to give you a heads up, right, is
I know.
Now think about the next 25. Okay.
David knows marked it.
One undervote, and then Katie.
You match. Okay. We should have 4 marks. You have 4 marks. Perhaps you don't.
Okay. Everybody's good?
This is where.
Those are those 4 ballots.
That was only 4 ballots.
Since we got the ballots already submitted for 25.
Okay, we have our start.
25 days, we don't have to do all that. So this is beautiful.
35.
You guys are the call now.
Right down here.
You would hope that it's all the ducks in.
26.
If I did the rest down. Okay. And then could you use the 5 seconds like that?
Now, go for, what is it?
It's up to you guys. Just so you know.
So we're gonna go either Mike or Buddy.
Town board chair.
So,
So if you don't switch the lead, one of you did you call anyone that wants to see it? Okay, very good. However, we do something. So one of you changed.
Okay, so.
One of you changed your
Okay, so I don't know.
Italian, so all of us Italian, and he's gonna stay with you.
I'll let you
there's
take
like,
it.
let's say,
You can do it again.
100
And then I'll let you go tally.
check.
Material to the other.
I love it.
If the person's on there.
Yes, so now we have
Town board chair.
Attention, everyone! Woo! Now I have your attention. We're getting a little loud. Yeah, so let's keep the tone down just a little bit. Still talk and converse and be transparent at your table, just a little less, okay? Appreciate it.
Yeah, Mark.
What are we gonna say?
What are you gonna say?
Town board chairperson.
I have to say, you know, while everybody else is thinking about running for election and how to do that, we have a budget. We have a serious budget. We have a legislature has weighed in, I think, on one vision of Wyoming. And I think it's very important be thoughtful. And let me say, not a legislature, a joint appropriations committee. But that's the job I have. That's what I was elected to do. And I'm not, when I always tell this story. So Dad told me to go water the chickens. And so I spent the entire morning figuring out a way I didn't have to carry the pails of water over to the chickens. And at noon, he said, so did you get the chickens watered? And I said, I got this really cool thing, Dad. And he said, but I told you, go water the chickens. And I think I've got that job. Make sure that we get through this budget session. Thank you.
We got 31, 41, and 44. Yep.
Okay.
Now, blue pen.
That should be everything that's counted over there. We should have 25 more ballots to go. Hey, it makes no difference. I can do either or.
So you have 31, 41,
I'll have to pause it. 200.
45.
Yeah, so let's get
No, you have to run it. You not do so fast.
Did you just miss the last one?
Yes, just do it.
We only have 3, so.
Okay.
This should be the top.
Well, let's do it like this.
Alright, here we go. 200.
Well, as long as
We're doing it all, yeah.
Yeah.
45 and 46.
Paid 100.
42 and 42.
We are counting 7 here.
So just circle it, just circle one. You're great, you're great. This is exactly what we're supposed to be doing.
33.
100.
Okay.
I don't.
Now we're going to do
Daniel.
34.
Now, where that should be okay, because you locked Mark last night. Well, then we can do it.
It doesn't matter. It's been our last battle.
Okay, mark it, this is where we stopped again.
Okay, ready?
Paid
45
100.
and 49.
200. Daniel.
So we'll
TVs, supervisors.
Daniel. 100. 200. 200.
Yeah, you read one at a time.
Yes, I sure do.
Katie, 100.
No, he just went downstairs.
Oh, we got it right in.
Well, it'd be, so there's a write-in. And so there needs to be two. There's only 100. What's that?
Yeah.
Undervote.
Warehouse.
Chris.
780. And 14.
Well done, guys. Very well done. We're working on
Daniel. Kate.
Uh-oh, we lost somebody.
Yes, it should be. Yeah, so it's, well, so there's a detached garage, and it's going to be in
So if you allocate that, you should come to
the vehicle should be in the vehicle. I will call,
Now, you can use your phone on this, but not.
Okay. It's making lots of noises.
Well, it's nice too.
And we don't want to run it until it's finished. I essentially would back there. That alleyway, but like the other side of the alley is all the prairie. So there's part of the all right, so appreciate it. Thanks so much. Yeah, we will bring that
We did it.
We did it. I screwed it up.
That's not a problem, I think that's more than counting.
I think it's did. And then I'm gonna
Or one person reads the numbers, the other one, okay, I'll tell you my numbers, you know, hey, tell me, or both of you say yes. I'm at 6,300. I say, well done. I'm gonna put you on food cabinet, we have folks right there. Well, we had to count some of them twice. Oh, yeah. And if we're in doubt, got early, we take their time, they take our time. Just pop into that time. Everybody's on the same page. If you got someone that hasn't done it, they're full of questions and don't understand.
Two ratios.
Right, and if you.
I can get going for this training, but I love to.
At the conference, you should just.
All right.
We're gonna have a public say. No, I'm very. We did. And she wasn't necessarily staunch.
So I
one mistake I
If there's 10 different names.
That was where we.
That is one way. That is one way.
But then we would mark our time.
The other direction.
That's not like.
Yeah, you read it again and you start bringing up.
And then when you say, we're 5-1 now, and I really have a mark out here. So are you guys in the same place?
We got something going on.
I think Mark might be.
I don't think that was a big, okay, you can.
And maybe we would, I mean, they're in the same place.
No, you don't circle everybody. When you come down, you say stop. That's when you mark it. Make sure it's.
Because you might.
To keep up with what everybody else. Outside. But I should go to up. I think I should not I should go.
Okay, so 49 is correct. That's where we're here.
These are correct, this one is not, and this one is not. Okay. Then, having said that, this is what you do. You come over to that left, that's the end of it. You come over here to verify, you put your initials there, you put your initials there, and you have your partner do the same thing. You're verifying the actual.
Yours was accurate, yours was wrong. No, I like how you did it on purpose so that you could learn how to correct it.
Put her name in the paper on
I thought that was smart.
Put her name in the paper.
I don't do In fact, we're changing a few things around in our policy now. Whenever we write in Teresa Gross, it'll be Teresa W-R-O-N.
How about gross?
This is all of the 25 is done. And then
When you get done with your two races, we're going to have lunch, and then we're gonna have a little chat, because I want to hear all your stories and suggestions and so on and so forth. But when you get done with your races, put everything back the way you found them, and if you agree, I'm gonna put them up on this countertop with a piece of evergreen. And go help yourself to food. Yes, ma'am.
So the ballots.